Good morning. Listen to me. Mental strength is not something you're born with. It's built, it's earned, it's fought for. Some of you are out here asking, how do I become mentally strong? But let me tell you something. You don't get strong sitting in your comfort zone. You don't get strong taking the easy route. See, mental strength comes when life punches you in the mouth. And instead of laying down, you get back up. It comes when you're tired, when you're doubting yourself, when the world tells you no, but you push through anyway. So how do you build it? Let me give you three things. One, master your mindset. Your mind is either your greatest weapon or your worst enemy. If you wake up every day telling yourself, I can't, it's too hard, I'm not good enough, guess what? You're already defeated. But if you wake up and say, I will, I must, I am unstoppable, then you just gave yourself a fighting chance. Control your thoughts, because what you think you become. Two, unraced. The pain, I need you to understand, pain is part of the process. Weak minds run from struggle. Strong minds run toward it. When life gets tough, most people quit, but not you, not anymore. When it hurts, when you're exhausted, when every part of you wants to stop, that's when you dig deeper. That's when you push through, because pressure makes diamonds. Fire makes steel stronger. And pain is what turns you into a warrior. Three, discipline, no excuses. Listen, motivation is good, but discipline is better. Some days you won't feel like grinding. Some days you'll want to quit, but strong people don't listen to feelings. They stick to the plan. They show up even when they don't feel like. They put in the work even when nobody is watching. You say you want to be mentally strong, then prove it. Stop making excuses. Stop waiting for the right time. Stop looking for a shortcut. The time is now. The pain you're avoiding is the strength you need. The challenge you're running from is the very thing that will build you. So I ask you, are you ready? Are you ready to step up, to fight for your future, to push through the struggle? Because if you are, then today is the day you stop being weak. Today is the day you become unbreakable. Let's go. Your thoughts are the foundation of everything you do. They shape your actions, influence your decisions, and determine your success or failure. If your mind is weak, everything around you crumbles. But if your mind is strong, there's nothing you cannot overcome. Your thoughts either push you forward or hold you back. The way you think will determine how far you go in life. It all starts in your mind. Most people don't realize how powerful their thoughts are. They think success is about luck, talent, or circumstances, but none of that matters if your mindset is weak. A weak mindset makes excuses. A weak mindset looks for shortcuts. A weak mindset waits for the perfect moment instead of creating it. But a strong mindset finds solutions when others find problems. A strong mindset doesn't break under pressure, it rises. Everything you are right now is a result of the thoughts you've allowed to dominate your mind. If you want to change your life, you must first change your thinking. Your mind is constantly talking to you. Every day you have thousands of thoughts running through your head. Some tell you that you can do anything, while others whisper doubt and fear. If you don't control these thoughts, they will control you. The problem is that most people allow negativity to take over. They allow fear, insecurity, and self-doubt to dictate their actions. They focus on what could go wrong instead of what could go right. They tell themselves they aren't good enough, smart enough, or strong enough, and they believe it. The moment you believe these lies, you start acting as if they are true. Think about it. How many times have you held yourself back because you doubted yourself? How many times have you given up before even trying? How many times have you let fear stop you from taking a chance? That's your mind working against you. But here's the truth. Your thoughts are not facts. Just because a thought enters your mind doesn't mean it's real. You have the power to challenge your thoughts, to question them, and to change them. If you want to be mentally strong, you have to train your mind the same way you train your body. You wouldn't go to the gym once and expect to be in shape, right? The same applies to your mind. You have to work on it every single day. That means feeding it with positivity, cutting out negativity, and replacing weak thoughts with strong ones. It means being intentional about what you allow into your head, what you listen to, what you watch, and who you surround yourself with all impact your mindset. If you're constantly around negative people, your thoughts will be negative. If you consume nothing but fear and doubt, that's what you'll believe. You have to protect your mind like your life depends on it, because it does. Self-talk is one of the most powerful tools you have. The way you speak to yourself matters more than anything. When you tell yourself you're not good enough, your brain believes it. But when you tell yourself you can, that you're strong, that you're unstoppable, your brain starts to believe that too. It's not about lying to yourself. It's about training your mind to focus on solutions instead of problems. Instead of saying, I can't do this, say, I will find a way. Instead of saying, I'm not ready, say, I will prepare. Instead of saying, I'm scared, say, I am courageous. Over time, these thoughts become your reality. Repetition is key. You can't just think positively once and expect your mind to change. You have to reinforce it every single day. The more you repeat empowering thoughts, the stronger they become. The same way negative thoughts can spiral into self-destruction, positive thoughts can spiral into greatness. The more you train your brain to focus on possibilities instead of obstacles, the more mentally strong you become. One of the biggest mistakes people make is allowing their emotions to control their thoughts. Feelings are temporary, but thoughts can shape your future. If you let every bad day, every rejection, and every failure dictate your mindset, you will never reach your full potential. Mental strength means controlling your thoughts even when your emotions are all over the place. It means choosing logic over fear, discipline over comfort, and action over hesitation. When you feel like giving up, your thoughts will tell you that you can't do it, that it's too hard, that you're not built for this. That's when you have to fight back. You have to remind yourself why you started. You have to remember that every struggle, every setback, and every challenge is just another opportunity to grow. When your mind says, stop, you say, keep going. When your mind says, it's impossible, you say, watch me. This isn't easy. It takes effort. It takes consistency. But if you can control your thoughts, you can control your life. The strongest people in the world aren't the ones who never struggle. They're the ones who refuse to let struggle break them. They've mastered their minds. They've learned how to push through fear, doubt, and pain. They've trained themselves to stay focused no matter what. That kind of strength doesn't come from luck. It comes from discipline. It comes from daily effort. It comes from choosing the right thoughts over and over again until they become second nature. Every great achiever, every successful person, every champion you admire has mastered their mindset. They weren't born that way. They trained for it. They disciplined their thoughts. They learned how to take control of their minds instead of letting their minds control them. That's the difference between those who succeed and those who don't. It's not talent. It's not luck. It's mindset. If you want to be mentally strong, it starts with what you allow yourself to think. Your mind will always try to take the easy way out. It will try to convince you to quit, to play it safe, to stay comfortable. But mental strength comes from pushing past those thoughts. It comes from challenging them, rewriting them and replacing them with stronger, more powerful ones. This is not something you do once and forget about. This is something you practice every single day. Mental strength is a skill. The more you work on it, the better you become. You won't always feel strong. Some days your mind will try to bring you down. Some days the doubt will creep in. But those are the moments that define you. Those are the moments when you either take control or let your mind control you. Most people never reach their potential because they let their minds defeat them before they even start. They let fear, doubt, and insecurity keep them from chasing their dreams. They tell themselves they're not ready, not smart enough, not capable. But the truth is, the only thing stopping them is their own mind. The only difference between those who win and those who lose is what they believe. If you want to change your life, start with your thoughts. If you want to be stronger, train your mind. If you want to reach your goals, take control of what you tell yourself, Because the moment you start thinking like a winner, you start acting like one. And when you start acting like one, there is nothing in this world that can stop you. Pain is the greatest teacher. It's the fire that forges strength, the pressure that creates diamonds, the storm that reveals who you really are. Most people run from pain, avoid struggle, and look for the easiest way out. But the truth is, without pain, there is no growth. Without struggle, there is no strength. Every person who has ever achieved greatness had to go through pain to get there. It wasn't handed to them. They didn't wake up one day and find themselves at the top. They had to fight for it. They had to endure. They had to push through when everything in them wanted to quit. The problem is that people want results without resistance. They want success without sacrifice. They want strength without struggle. But it doesn't work that way. Every time you feel pain, you have a choice. You can either let it break you or let it build you. Weak people crumble under pressure. They give up when things get hard. They complain, make excuses, and look for a way out. But strong people embrace the pain. They use it as fuel. They take every setback, every hardship, every ounce of suffering, and turn it into power. Pain is not your enemy. It's a part of the process. The discomfort you feel when you're pushing past your limits, that's growth. The frustration you feel when things aren't going your way, that's transformation. Every great story, every champion, every success was built on pain. The strongest people are not the ones who had it easy. They are the ones who face challenges head on and refuse to back down. When you go through pain, your mind starts looking for a way out. It tells you to stop. It tells you it's too hard. It tries to convince you that you can't handle it. That's when most people quit. That's when they walk away from their dreams. But if you can push past that voice, if you can keep going when everything inside you is screaming to stop, that's when you unlock a new level of strength. That's when you realize that pain is temporary, but quitting is forever. Most people underestimate how much they can endure. They hit a little bit of resistance and assume they've reached their limit. But your limits are an illusion. Your body, your mind, your spirit, they can handle far more than you think. The only reason you stop is because your mind tells you to. But your mind is designed to keep you comfortable. It wants to avoid pain, avoid discomfort, avoid struggle. If you listen to it, you will never reach your full potential. Think about a muscle. If you want it to grow, you have to push it beyond its comfort zone. You have to lift heavier, push harder, endure the burn. If you stop when it starts to hurt, you never get stronger. The same applies to your mind. Mental strength is built in the moments when you want to give up but choose to keep going. It's built in the moments when life knocks you down, but you refuse to stay down. Every challenge, every failure, every disappointment is an opportunity to grow, but only if you choose to embrace it. Pain has a purpose. It teaches you resilience. It forces you to adapt. It shows you what you're really made of. The people who accomplish the most in life are not the ones who avoid pain. They are the ones who lean into it. They understand that struggle is part of the journey. They don't complain when things get tough. They don't waste time feeling sorry for themselves. They take the pain and use it as fuel. Most people don't realize how close they are to a breakthrough when they quit. They give up right before they succeed. The moment when the pain feels unbearable is usually the moment right before transformation. But most people never get there because they let the pain convince them to stop. If you can learn to embrace the struggle instead of running from it, you will separate yourself from the majority. You will develop a level of mental toughness that most people will never reach. Pain is inevitable. Life will test you. Things will not always go as planned. You will experience failure, rejection, disappointment. There is no escaping it. The question is, what will you do when it happens? Will you let it break you, or will you use it to become stronger? The most successful people are not the ones who avoid failure, but the ones who refuse to let failure define them. They understand that every setback is a setup for a comeback. The difference between the weak and the strong is how they respond to pain. Weak people let it defeat them. Strong people use it to get better. Every time you go through something difficult, you are given an opportunity to grow. You can either complain about it, dwell on it, let it drain you, or you can use it to fuel your progress. You can take the pain and turn it into power. When you experience pain, your perspective matters. Most people see pain as something negative, something to be avoided. But strong people see it as necessary. They understand that pain is part of the process. They know that every struggle is preparing them for something greater. They don't resist it, they embrace it. They don't see obstacles as roadblocks, they see them as opportunities. Some of the greatest lessons in life come from pain. It teaches you who you really are. It exposes your weaknesses. It forces you to grow. If everything were easy, you would never improve. You would never develop strength, resilience, or grit. The struggle is what makes success meaningful. The pain is what makes victory worth it. Most people want an easy life, but easy lives don't create strong people. If you want to be mentally strong, you have to stop avoiding pain. You have to stop looking for shortcuts. You have to stop expecting things to be handed to you. Strength is built through hardship. Growth comes from struggle. If you can learn to face pain head on, to push through when things get tough, to keep going when most people would quit, you will become unstoppable. Pain is temporary, but the strength you gain from it lasts forever. Every time you push through discomfort, you become stronger. Every time you refuse to quit, you build resilience. The hardest moments in life are the ones that shape you the most. If you can learn to embrace them instead of avoiding them, there is no limit to what you can achieve. Every successful person has a story of struggle. They've all faced obstacles, setbacks, failures. But the reason they succeeded is because they didn't let the pain stop them. They kept going. They pushed through. They refused to let hardship define them. That's the mindset you need to develop if you want to be mentally strong. You can't pick and choose when to be strong. You can't decide to be tough only when things are easy. Mental strength is built in the moments when you want to give up, but choose to keep going. It's built in the moments when life tests you, when everything feels like it's against you, when you have every reason to quit, but your pain is not the enemy. Fear is not the enemy. The real enemy is the voice in your head telling you that you can't handle it. The real enemy is the part of you that wants to take the easy way out. If you can conquer that, you can conquer anything. If you can learn to push through pain instead of running from it, you will unlock a level of strength you never knew you had. Discipline is the difference between success and failure, between the weak and the strong, between those who dream and those who achieve. Most people rely on motivation, thinking they will act when they feel inspired, when the time is right, when everything lines up perfectly. But that's why most people never reach their full potential. Motivation is temporary. It comes and goes. Some days you'll feel like giving your best effort, and other days you won't. If you only act when you feel like it, you'll never be consistent. And without consistency, there is no success. Discipline is doing what needs to be done, even when you don't feel like doing it. It's showing up day after day, putting in the work and sticking to the plan, no matter how you feel. It doesn't matter if you're tired. It doesn't matter if you're frustrated. It doesn't matter if you're not in the mood. Weak people make decisions based on emotions, but strong people make decisions based on commitment. When you are disciplined, your feelings don't control you, you control them. Success is not built on moments of inspiration. It's built on daily habits, on small, consistent actions repeated over time. The strongest people, the most successful people, the people who accomplish the most in life are not always the most talented or the most gifted. They are simply the ones who refuse to quit. They are the ones who wake up every morning and do what needs to be done regardless of how they feel. They don't wait for motivation to strike. They don't look for excuses. They don't take shortcuts. They do the work every single day because they understand that discipline is the key to greatness. When you lack discipline, you become a slave to your emotions. If you wake up tired, you hit snooze. If something feels difficult, you procrastinate. If you don't feel like working out, you skip it. But the problem is, every time you take the easy way out, you weaken your mind. Every time you make an excuse, you reinforce the habit of quitting. And once quitting becomes a habit, it's hard to break. People think discipline is restrictive, but in reality, discipline is freedom. When you have discipline, you are in control of your life. You don't waste time. You don't let distractions pull you away from your goals. You don't allow laziness, fear, or self-doubt to dictate your actions. You decide what needs to be done and you do it no matter what. Most people live their lives based on how they feel in the moment. That's why they never achieve long-term success. One day they feel motivated and go all in, and the next day they're tired and do nothing. That cycle repeats over and over again, and years go by without progress. The reason successful people separate themselves from the rest is because they do what others won't. They show up when they don't feel like it. They work when nobody is watching. They stay consistent even when they don't see immediate results. There will be days when everything inside you tells you to quit. There will be moments when you want to take a break, when you convince yourself that you deserve to rest. That's when discipline matters most. That's when you have to push through, even when it's uncomfortable, because success is not about doing what's easy. It's about doing what's necessary. Your brain is wired for comfort. It wants to keep you safe, to protect you from discomfort, to make things easy. That's why most people struggle with discipline. The moment something feels difficult, their brain tells them to stop. But that's the test. When your mind tells you to quit, when your body is tired, when you feel like giving up, that is the moment that separates the average from the great. If you can push past that moment, if you can fight through the resistance, you will develop a level of mental toughness that most people will never have. Discipline is not about motivation. It's about habit. The more you practice discipline, the stronger it becomes. At first, it's difficult, waking up early, sticking to a schedule, pushing yourself beyond your limits. It all feels uncomfortable, but over time, it becomes who you are. The more you stick to a routine, the less you have to rely on willpower. It becomes automatic. You don't think about whether you should do something, you just do it. Most people don't stick with anything long enough to see results. They start a workout plan and quit after a week. They set goals but give up when it gets hard. They want success, but they aren't willing to be consistent. If you want to be different, you have to commit to the process, not just the outcome. You have to fall in love with the grind, not just the rewards. Because the truth is, success is boring. It's not always exciting. It's not always fun. It's showing up every day and doing the work, even when you don't see progress. When you have discipline, excuses don't matter. It doesn't matter if you're tired, if you're stressed, if you're busy. You do what needs to be done no matter what. That's the mindset that separates champions from everyone else. That's the mindset that leads to success in every area of life. Discipline is about making sacrifices. It's about choosing long-term rewards over short-term comfort. Most people can't do that. They give into temptation. They choose pleasure over progress. They take the easy way out. That's why most people never reach their goals. They aren't willing to put in the work consistently. They want quick results. And when they don't get them, they quit. When you're disciplined, you don't need to rely on motivation. You don't wait for inspiration to hit. You take action every single day, regardless of how you feel. That's the secret. It's not about talent. It's not about luck. It's about doing the work when you don't want to. It's about showing up when nobody else will. It's about staying committed even when you don't see immediate results. If you want to be successful, stop waiting for the perfect moment. Stop waiting until you feel ready. Stop waiting for motivation to kick in. Start now. Start when it's hard. Start when it's uncomfortable. Because the sooner you build discipline, the sooner you take control of your life. Most people dream of success, but few are willing to do what it takes. They say they want it, but their actions don't match their words. They let distractions pull them away. They let excuses hold them back. They let laziness, fear, and doubt control them. That's why most people never achieve their goals. You have to decide if you're going to be different. You have to decide if you're going to be one of the few who commit, who stay disciplined, who show up no matter what. Because at the end of the day, the people who win are not the ones who had it easy. They are the ones who refuse to quit. They are the ones who put in the work every single day, no matter how they felt. They are the ones who chose discipline over excuse. Adversity is life's way of testing you. It's the weight you have to lift, the fire you have to walk through, the storm you have to survive. It doesn't care about your feelings. It doesn't care about your excuses. It doesn't care if you think it's unfair. It will come for you whether you're ready or not. The question is, what are you going to do when it hits? Will you crumble under the pressure? Will you run from it? Or will you push through it? Most people break when adversity comes. They let setbacks define them. They let failure destroy their confidence. They start doubting themselves, questioning whether they're capable, whether they're good enough. That's the mindset of the weak. That's the mindset of people who never reach their full potential. But the strong use adversity as fuel. They understand that every obstacle is an opportunity to grow. And they don't run from struggle, they embrace it. They know that the harder the battle, the stronger they become. There is no growth without resistance. You don't build strength by staying comfortable. You don't develop character by taking the easy route. You get stronger by pushing through when everything inside you says to stop. You grow by facing challenges head on and refusing to back down. That's how you develop mental toughness. That's how you separate yourself from the average. Pain is inevitable. Life will knock you down. You will fail. You will experience loss, rejection, disappointment. That's a fact. But what matters is how you respond. Weak people let adversity break them. They start feeling sorry for themselves. They make excuses. They blame other people, their circumstances, bad luck. They convince themselves that life is unfair. And instead of fighting back, they give up. But strong people, they don't have time for excuses. They don't waste energy on self-pity. They take the hit, learn from it, and keep moving forward. There will always be reasons to quit. There will always be moments when you feel like giving up. But that's the moment that defines you. That's the moment that separates those who succeed from those who fail. Because the truth is, everyone faces adversity. Everyone struggles. Everyone experiences pain. But not everyone has the will to push through. Not everyone has the mindset to keep going when things get tough. Most people don't realize how close they are to success when they give up. They hit one setback and assume it's over. They face one failure and think they aren't good enough. But every great success story is filled with obstacles. Every champion, every leader, every person who has ever accomplished something significant had to overcome struggle. They had to fight through moments when they doubted themselves. They had to push through when they wanted to quit. The problem is people want success to come easy. They want to win without the struggle. They want results without resistance. But that's not how life works. If it were easy, everyone would do it. If it didn't require sacrifice, everyone would be successful. But the reason most people don't make it is because they aren't willing to endure. They want shortcuts. They want instant gratification. The moment things get hard, they quit. You can't build mental strength without adversity. You don't get stronger by avoiding struggle. You get stronger by facing it, by pushing through, by refusing to let it defeat you. Every time you overcome an obstacle, you become tougher. Every time you push through pain, you build resilience. Every time you refuse to quit, you set yourself apart from the majority. Most people see adversity as a problem. They see struggle as something negative, but the strongest people see it differently. They see adversity as an opportunity. They see struggle as a gift because they understand that without adversity, there is no growth. Without struggle, there is no progress. They know that every challenge is a chance to become better. The difference between the weak and the strong is perspective. Weak people see failure as the end. Strong people see failure as feedback. Weak people let obstacles stop them. Strong people let obstacles fuel them. Weak people look for a way out. Strong people look for a way through. That's the mindset you need to develop if you want to be successful. You can't afford to be fragile. You can't afford to break every time life gets difficult. You have to be relentless. You have to be unbreakable. You have to decide that no matter what happens, no matter how hard it gets, you will not stop. Most people think adversity is something to be avoided. They think struggle means they're on the wrong path. But in reality, struggle is proof that you're growing. It's proof that you're leveling up. The only people who don't struggle are the ones who stay in their comfort zones, the ones who never take risks, the ones who never push themselves beyond what's easy. But those people never achieve greatness. They never reach their full potential because they're too afraid to struggle. Adversity is a test. It's life's way of seeing how bad you really want it. Anyone can be motivated when things are easy. Anyone can be excited when everything is going their way. But what happens when life punches you in the face? What happens when things don't go as planned? What happens when you fail? That's when your true character is revealed. That's when we see who you really are. Most people don't have the mental toughness to endure. The moment they face resistance, they fold. They start looking for excuses. They start blaming other people. But the truth is, adversity is not the problem. The problem is their mindset. They haven't trained themselves to be strong. They haven't conditioned their minds to push through when things get hard. If you want to succeed, you have to rewire your brain to embrace adversity. You have to change the way you think about struggle. Instead of seeing obstacles as roadblocks, see them as opportunities. Instead of running from pain, use it to fuel your growth. Instead of letting failure break you, let it make you stronger. This isn't about talent. It's not about luck. It's about mindset. It's about grit. It's about having the will to keep going when everything inside you is telling you to stop. The most successful people in the world are not the ones who never struggled. They are the ones who struggled the most but refused to quit. They turned their pain into power. They used adversity as motivation. They didn't let failure define them. They used it to refine them. Adversity is not something to fear. It's something to embrace. Because on the other side of struggle is strength. On the other side of failure is success. On the other side of pain is growth. But most people never get there because they quit too soon. They let fear stop them. They let self-doubt hold them back. They let obstacles discourage them. If you want to be different, you have to think differently. You have to see adversity as necessary. You have to understand that struggle is part of the process. It's not something to avoid, it's something to overcome. It's not a reason to quit, it's a reason to push harder. Every challenge you face is preparing you for something greater. Every setback is setting you up for a comeback. You have to decide that nothing will break you. No matter how hard it gets, no matter how many times you fail, no matter how many obstacles stand in your way, you will keep going. Because the people who make it to the top are not the ones who had it easy. They are the ones who kept pushing, kept fighting, kept grinding, even when everything was against them. They didn't let adversity stop them. They let it strengthen them. Your mind is the most powerful tool you have. It will either be your greatest weapon or your biggest weakness. Most people don't realize that their thoughts shape their reality. They allow negativity, doubt, and fear to control them, and as a result, they never reach their full potential. But the strongest people, the most successful people, have one thing in common. They control their minds. They don't let negative thoughts dictate their actions. They don't allow fear to stop them. They train their minds to be strong, to be unshakable, to be unstoppable. Mental toughness starts with controlling your thoughts. The moment you let negativity take over, you start to lose. The moment you start doubting yourself, you begin to fail. Your mind will believe whatever you feed it. If you feed it weakness, it will make you weak. If you feed it strength, it will make you strong. You have to protect your mindset like your life depends on it, because it does. Every great success begins in the mind. Every failure also begins in the mind. The difference is what you choose to focus on. Most people focus on what they can't do, on what might go wrong, on all the reasons why something is impossible. They fill their minds with excuses, with fear, with self-doubt, and then they wonder why they never achieve anything great. Your thoughts control your actions, and your actions determine your results. If you think weak, you will act weak. If you think strong, you will act strong. You have to train yourself to eliminate negative thinking. You have to replace every doubt with belief, every fear with confidence, every excuse with action. Your brain is wired for survival. It will always try to protect you from discomfort, from failure, from risk. That's why most people never push past their limits. The moment something feels difficult, their mind starts making excuses. It tells them they're too tired, that it's too hard, that they aren't good enough. But those thoughts are lies. Your mind will try to trick you into staying comfortable, but comfort is the enemy of growth. If you want to be strong, you have to reprogram your mind. You have to take control. You have to develop the ability to shut down negative thoughts the moment they appear. The second your brain starts feeding you excuses, you have to cut them off. The second doubt creeps in, you have to replace it with belief. You have to be relentless in guarding your mind. Strong people don't entertain weakness. They don't give space to negativity. They don't allow fear to dictate their action. They take control of their thoughts, and because of that, they take control of their lives. Most people don't realize that they are their own worst enemy. They talk themselves out of success before they even try. They convince themselves they aren't smart enough, talented enough, or strong enough. But the truth is, the only thing stopping you is you. Your limitations are not real. They are created by your own mind. The moment you stop believing in your excuses, you become unstoppable. The strongest people understand that their mind is like a muscle. It needs to be trained. If you don't train it, it will become weak. If you don't control it, it will control you. That's why you have to be intentional about what you feed your mind. You can't spend your time around negative people and expect to be positive. You can't consume garbage and expect to have a strong mindset. You have to guard your mental environment. Surround yourself with people who push you forward, not people who pull you down. Fill your mind with knowledge, with inspiration, with anything that makes you better. Discipline is the foundation of mental strength. You can't wait until you feel like doing something. You can't rely on motivation because motivation fades. Some days you won't feel like working, training, or pushing yourself. But those are the days that matter the most. Those are the days that separate the strong from the weak. If you only act when you feel like it, you will never achieve greatness. The strongest people train their minds to act, regardless of how they feel. They don't let emotions dictate their actions. They do what needs to be done, no matter what. Every time you push yourself past your comfort zone, you build mental toughness. Every time you force yourself to keep going when you want to quit, you strengthen your mind. That's why struggle is necessary. That's why adversity is a gift. Every challenge you face is an opportunity to grow stronger, but most people don't see it that way. They see struggle as a problem. They see hardship as a reason to stop. But the ones who succeed, they see struggle as training. They understand that every obstacle is making them tougher. Every setback is teaching them something valuable. Every hardship is preparing them for something greater. The strongest people in the world were not born that way. They were forged through fire. They were built through struggle. They faced pain, failure, rejection, and disappointment. But instead of letting it break them, they used it to make them better. They didn't let circumstances control them. They controlled their response. That's what mental strength is. It's not about avoiding problems. It's about facing them with the right mindset. Your mind is always listening to what you tell it. If you keep saying, I can't do this, your mind will believe you. If you keep telling yourself this is too hard, your brain will find reasons to quit. But if you train yourself to say, I can handle this, I am strong enough, I refuse to give up, your mind will adjust to that reality. The way you talk to yourself matters. The way you think matters. You have to speak strength into your life. You have to reinforce positive thoughts until they become your default mindset. Most people never take control of their minds, and that's why they never take control of their lives. They allow distractions, negativity, and fear to dictate their actions. They live their entire lives reacting instead of acting. But if you want to be strong, you have to flip the script. You have to decide that you will no longer be a victim of your own thoughts. You have to take responsibility for your mindset. That means no more excuses, no more blaming circumstances, no more letting fear control you. It means making the decision every single day to think strong, to act strong, to be strong. Your mind is the command center of your life. If you don't control it, someone else will. If you don't train it, it will become weak. If you don't fill it with strength, it will fill itself with doubt. That's why mental training is just as important as physical training. You have to put in the reps. You have to build mental endurance. You have to develop the ability to keep pushing when everything inside you is telling you to stop. The battle is won or lost in the mind before it's ever won or lost in reality. The people who achieve greatness are the ones who refuse to accept defeat. They don't let setbacks shake them. They don't let failure define them. They don't let adversity stop them. They have trained their minds to be unshakable. And because of that, nothing can break them. You have to make a decision. You have to decide whether you will let your mind control you or if you will control your mind. You have to decide if you will live with fear, doubt, and negativity, or if you will fill your mind with strength, confidence, and determination. Because at the end of the day, your mind will either be your greatest ally or your worst enemy. The choice is yours. Most people want success. Most people want to be strong. They want to be unshakable, unstoppable, relentless. But the problem is they don't have discipline. They rely on motivation, and motivation is unreliable. Motivation comes and goes. Some days you feel like doing the work. Some days you don't. Some days you feel unstoppable. Some days you feel like quitting. If you rely on motivation, you will never be consistent. And if you are not consistent, you will never be successful. Discipline is the foundation of mental strength. Discipline is doing what needs to be done even when you don't feel like doing it. Discipline is waking up early when your body tells you to sleep in. Discipline is going to the gym when your mind makes excuses. Discipline is putting in the work when you don't feel like it, when no one is watching, when there's no applause, when there's no reward in sight. That's what separates the weak from the strong. That's what separates the people who dream from the people who achieve. The difference is not talent, not intelligence, not luck. It's discipline. It's the ability to show up every single day, no matter what. Most people fail because they can't stay consistent. They start something with energy, with excitement, with passion, but the moment it gets hard, they quit. The moment they don't feel like doing it anymore, they stop. That's why so many people never achieve their goals. That's why so many people live below their potential, because they don't only work when it's easy. They only show up when they feel like it. But the strongest people, the most successful people, understand that discipline is greater than motivation. They understand that consistency is the key to greatness. Discipline is the ability to control your actions, your emotions, your thoughts. It's the ability to keep pushing when your body wants to stop. It's the ability to silence the excuses, to ignore the distractions, to push through the pain. If you don't have discipline, you will always be controlled by your feelings. You will always be at the mercy of your emotions. Some days you'll feel strong. Some days you'll feel weak. Some days you'll be focused. Some days you'll be distracted. But if you have discipline, none of that matters. You do what needs to be done regardless of how you feel. The problem is most people are slaves to their emotions. They let their feelings control their actions. They wait until they feel motivated. They wait until they feel ready. They wait for the perfect moment. But the perfect moment never comes. The people who succeed are the ones who take action even when they don't feel like it. The people who succeed are the ones who show up even when they're tired, even when they're uninspired, even when they have every excuse to quit. Discipline is not something you're born with. It's something you build. It's like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. The more you push yourself to do what needs to be done, the easier it becomes. The problem is most people never train themselves to be disciplined. They take the easy way out. They listen to their excuses. They avoid discomfort. And because of that, they never develop the mental strength they need to succeed. If you want to be strong, if you want to be successful, you have to develop the habit of discipline. You have to train yourself to take action no matter how you feel. You have to get comfortable being uncomfortable. You have to push yourself beyond your limits every single day, because discipline is not about doing something once. It's not about being consistent for a week or a month. It's about making it a lifestyle. It's about showing up every day for years, for decades, for a lifetime. Most people look at successful individuals and think they got lucky. They think they have some special talent, some secret formula. But the truth is, they just have more discipline. They just work harder, longer, more consistently. They don't allow their emotions to dictate their actions. They don't let distractions pull them away from their goals. They don't make excuses. They do what needs to be done no matter what. Discipline is painful, it's uncomfortable, it's hard, but that's why so few people have it. That's why so few people succeed. Because it requires sacrifice. It requires doing things you don't want to do. It requires waking up early, staying up late, putting in the work when no one is watching. But the people who are willing to make those sacrifices, the people who are willing to endure that pain, those are the people who become great. The truth is, you can have excuses or you can have results, but you can't have both. You can sit around complaining about how hard life is, or you can get up and do something about it. You can wait for motivation, or you can develop discipline. The choice is yours. Most people never achieve their goals because they give themselves too many options. They leave the door open for excuses. They tell themselves, I'll do it tomorrow. I'll start next week. I'll wait until I feel ready. But discipline means shutting the door on excuses. Discipline means making a commitment and sticking to it no matter what. It means deciding that failure is not an option, that quitting is not an option, that excuses are not an option. The strongest people in the world are not the most talented. They are not the smartest. They are not the luckiest. They are the ones who have the most discipline. They are the ones who show up every single day, no matter what. They're the ones who refuse to quit, who refuse to settle, who refuse to be controlled by their emotions. That's what separates them from the rest. Most people will never experience their full potential because they aren't willing to do what it takes. They aren't willing to put in the work when it's hard. They aren't willing to make sacrifices. They aren't willing to be uncomfortable. But if you want to be different, if you want to be great, you have to be willing to do what others won't. You have to be willing to suffer for success. You have to be willing to push through pain, to embrace discomfort, to train your mind and body to be stronger than your excuses. The difference between the average and the elite is discipline. The average person waits for the right moment. The elite person creates the right moment. The average person lets emotions control them. The elite person controls their emotions. The average person makes excuses. The elite person takes action. That's the difference. If you want to be successful, you have to make discipline your priority. You have to stop waiting for motivation. You have to stop letting your feelings control you. You have to wake up every day with a purpose, with a plan, with a commitment to excellence. Because at the end of the day, discipline is what will separate you from everyone else. Discipline is what will turn your dreams into reality. Discipline is what will make you unstoppable.